Hello. I hope y'all
Hey.
enjoyed that music. Hey Nate, I'll say hi to people in the comments as well. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time watching Open Source Friday, I run this stream every Friday where I talk to a maintainer or a core contributor of an open source project about like what's cool, what's new, what they're doing and what they're up to within their project. If y'all want, feel free to type in the chat of like what you're most excited about for this particular episode. And I'll give Nate a chance to introduce himself. Hi, Nate.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
I'm good.
Awesome. Yeah, my name's Nate. I'm a core contributor to the Astro project, and we just released our 2.0 version. So gonna dive into that today and talk about that and open source maintenance and what it's like working on a big project. So can't wait.
Nice. I can't wait either. Okay, for folks who do not know what Astro is, what is Astro?
Yeah. So we describe ourselves as an all-in-one web framework for building fast, content-focused websites. So the idea there is that we think a lot of the tools out there for building web things are focused on applications, and we are much more interested in building for things like blogs, marketing sites, e-commerce, things like that, that are less interactive, though they can still be interactive. But our goal is to ship a lot less JavaScript to the client. So we really focus on server side JavaScript as much as possible. We are essentially a framework kind of like Next or Nuxt. And there's a lot of comparisons you could draw there. We have a component syntax, opinions about how you should fetch your data, though not too many. File-based routing, we do bundling and optimization and all that stuff. And we support any framework. So things like React, Solid, Vue, Svelte. I think I'm missing some, but yeah, basically, if you want to write it for the front end, we support it.
That's my favorite part about Astro is that I can like include all these random different like frameworks. Like I could have a React component in there and I could also have like a different component and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was super
um
important to us just because a lot of frameworks don't offer you that flexibility. But if you're just working with HTML, you do get that flexibility. So it's nice to have it all built in.
yes, it is. So I'm curious, like, what inspired you to co-create Astro?
Yeah, absolutely. Astro started I guess 2021. We're in 23 now. So
Wow.
2 years ago, we were, so my background, I come from an agency, and we were using Next.js some. We were using some older setups that were like PHP, but then we wanted to mix in like a Vue application in there. So that was really interesting because I had these two very different ways of working. Um, and I was inspired to create a project of mine called Microsite that started breaking things down on the server and the client a little differently. So this is where the islands architecture idea came in.
Okay.
I had heard of it, and I just wanted to see how feasible it would be to make a framework around it. So I started Microsite, and that was really cool. So it was partial hydration automatically. And then, Fred got in contact with me and was really excited about the idea, and we started working on Astro. And we were super excited about delivering less like framework lock-in and less JavaScript on the client. And we wanted something that was really friendly for beginners, because that's something I really loved about working with like pure HTML, or kind of that model of like PHP and Vue was actually really cool, because I just kind of said, like, you just want a little bit of JavaScript on the client. So being able to have that in a modern developer experience like Astro is something I was super pumped about.
I love that. I do think it's like super friendly for beginners. And I didn't realize y'all created it in 2021. Like time is flying.
It totally is, yeah.
And what a cool synergy that like you were working on something similar and then Fred reached out and y'all like banded together. Did y'all know each other before? Like this is just a nosy question.
No. We had chatted on Twitter. I was actually using Snowpack, which Fred created. And there was a small team working on that. So yeah, we actually connected through Snowpack. And then Astro originally used Snowpack, and now we're on Vite. Kind of the whole progression there.
I love that. And I'll just highlight a comment from Anthony that says Twitter, the ultimate connector. So yeah.
Totally.
Okay. So I guess you kind of dived into this question a little bit, but if you wanted to expand on it, like what is the purpose of like, and I didn't hear you refer to it as a HTML first framework, so maybe y'all like have evolved from that. You more said like content based, but like what's the purpose of something like an HTML first framework for like someone who has like almost zero knowledge of like web development?
Absolutely. So the idea, we have our own component syntax, but it's meant to feel just like writing an HTML file. So that's the basis we started with, and we've tried really hard to keep it really simple. So if you don't want any of the fancy features we have, you don't need to use them. It's just HTML, which I think contrasts itself to a lot of other frameworks where you are kind of thrown in the deep end of JavaScript, and okay, to get started, I need to understand like closures and how to write functions and asynchronous and all this stuff. That's all kind of front loaded, so it can be super intimidating for beginners. And that's what I love about how we've approached and designed Astro, is that it feels just like kind of old school web development. Like, I'm just going to use an HTML file, throw some styles in there, throw some scripts in there. So the goal is to be super approachable and friendly. And a huge benefit of that is you end up shipping a lot less JavaScript, because that's not the main focus. Like, if you're using JavaScript as the primitive to compose your whole site, you're going to end up with a lot of that on the client.
I love that. And I agree with you about the old school HTML. Like back in the day when we were, I know everybody says this, but like it's for real. Like we were like doing MySpace and Tumblr. Like I didn't even know that was like coding. It seemed like something that I could do. I'm like, okay, they're like bolding words over here. I'll change that to italics. So like I do I do agree that it's approachable because it just doesn't look as scary.
Right.
I'll start a couple comments from people to go back to after this. But tell us what's new in the Astro 2.0 release. And then I know you have like something that you're experimenting on that you want to show us as well.
Totally. There are some awesome new features in Astro 2.0. The headliner would be content collections, which is kind of this new way to work with Markdown. And that's super exciting because it actually allows you to work with it in a type safe way. It'll validate your front matter, give you super nice errors. And it's just a really great developer experience for like writing your personal blog or something like that. So that's a huge one. We also shipped pre-rendering or hybrid rendering. So with that, you can deploy a server and some static HTML at the same time. That was a feature that I worked on quite a bit. And then we also removed a bunch of deprecated stuff from very early days, and shipped a new error experience. So we did a ton of work to categorize all our errors, give them a unique code, description and hints, and a dedicated page on the doc site. So I think that improves the development experience so much.
Exciting. And Kevin just said Nate's experiments are always so interesting, keeping an eye open. So now I really want to know know what this experiment is that you have cooking. Do you want me to add your share screen? Are you ready?
Yeah, that
All
would be
right,
awesome.
let's go.
So we are launching today an experiment that we're calling Houston AI. Houston is our little mascot. And this is a AI assistant that is trained to answer questions about Astro specifically. So we trained it on our doc site. So it has all of those resources at its disposal, and it can give really good summaries of questions about Astro. So not everything is totally accurate. We're still working out some kinks, but we were pretty excited about this because you can ask questions like, should I use Markdown or MDX? And it'll actually give you a pretty great summary of the difference between those. And it'll also link out to our doc site and give you more things to read about.
You essentially made Chat GPT for Astro.
Just for Astro, yeah. So what's awesome is that it'll link you out. Our goal isn't to like provide all the answers here, but to give you more resources to go learn. So if you have some basic questions about Astro and you don't like how searching the docs works, this is a more conversational way to do it. So we're pretty excited about this and the opportunities it opens up for like support, because we think there's a lot of stuff we can automate, make a lot easier through a system like this. So we're pretty pumped.
I love it. I'm so excited about the direction that AI is going in. I didn't even think of this as an option. More projects should do something like this. I do see a question. I did see other questions, and I'm saving them for later. But from Anthony, he says, like, what did you use to fine tune the model? I do see like in the top right hand corner, you kind of say, but just to say it for everybody.
Totally. So we're using GPT-3.
Mhm.
There's also a tool called LangChain, which is a really awesome library. Their documentation is phenomenal,
Okay.
and they have a lot of built-in models for like question answering, things like that. So we actually feed in our doc site, basically do like a quick vector store search on like semantically similar documents, and then we feed those to the model. So we basically upfront figure out which documents are relevant and then pass those into the model so that it can summarize it, and then give us back links to all the resources it used.
Wow. Okay. Now I have an additional question as you're
Yeah.
talking. Like, if you gave Houston, this Houston AI thing, like a line of code, and you're like, oh, this
Mhm.
is like not working, or how can I improve this? I don't know. Can it give feedback, or am I thinking too deeply?
So that's a cool thing about Chat GPT that it can do. We definitely haven't gotten there with this model, but
Okay.
we'd like to keep tweaking it and playing with it.
Mm.
Right now, it's pretty tied to the things you can find in the documentation.
Okay, that's completely fine. That makes sense. Even like parts of like some of the experiments that GitHub Next is doing with Copilot, they're still like working on improving those. There's still a little bit of friction and like how smooth it is. So that makes a lot of sense. Anthony said, is there going to be a blog post announcing this that they can link somebody to?
Yeah, we're gonna release a tweet, I think, right after this, just letting people know about it. So
Wait,
keep an eye out for that.
is this the first place you announced this
This
on?
is, yeah, world premiere.
That's so cool. Okay, cool. And then Kevin said, is the API hosted by Astro or a third party service?
It is, yeah, it's an internal API that we built. The source for that is not public, but the front end is public. We're hoping to, tie this up and release it open source so that if you have your own doc site, you can hopefully do that. No word on when that's going to happen, but that would be the ultimate goal for this.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. This I feel like this is so exciting. Like the stream's already perfect. We can end it. It's so like I did not know that you were like giving us a sneak preview that you haven't given yet to anybody else. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything else you wanted to show us with this, or do you want to switch over to whatever next demos that you have?
Yeah, let's talk about Astro 2.0. I think that would be awesome. So I scaffolded out a really simple Astro project here. I think people are hopefully familiar with our syntax, so we don't need to chat about that too much. But basically, you have server-side JavaScript up here, HTML plus JSX expressions down here. So yeah, this is a really simple thing. I just wanted to show off content collections. So content collections are this awesome way for working with your local markdown files. And you basically write this config file. So you see our posts here have like title, description, date, and an image. And to hook these up, we're going to write our config. So we'll say const blog equals define collection. Then we pass it in a schema. And we're using a library here called Zod, which basically validates your TypeScript at runtime. And we can pass in everything that is required in our front matter here. So we've got title, description, date, and image. So this is a string. Our description is a string. And our pub date is also a string, but we can transform it. We can say, we can do this or a date. And then we can do transform. And what's awesome about this is if the value is a string, we can convert it right here to a date so that when you're working with your content, you always have like the actual data that you want. But obviously YAML, you're going to want a string here.
Wow, that's cool. Great.
And then what's the last thing? Hero image can optionally be there as well. And then the last thing we have to do is export our collections. And now we have a collection set up. That's all it is. So to pull it in to our Astro file, we can create a page here. Okay. So we have a helper Astro content. Okay. And this is all type generated. So we're actually getting our posts. The type is a lot, but we're actually getting all of these posts are like in our types now, which is super nice. That runs during the dev server. Okay. So our posts, we can do const posts equals await hit collection, and this collection is called blog. And then if we wanted to sort it, we can have A and B, and then just sort on the pub date. So yeah, so if we have A dot, so you see all of the stuff that we have here. Yeah. Data is going to be our front matter, and we have a pub date. Wow. Value of, oops, ow. not typing well. I think
No worries.
that's all we have to do. So now they'll be sorted by date. Um, and then we can just render them out uh,
Okay.
inside a list here. New posts, map, post, and we'll make a little list. Let's see. We can put a link here to the actual page they're going to be on.
Wow. Okay.
And post slug, you can see we actually have our first post, second post, third post here, because that's all typed, and our
Yeah.
data is going to be a string. So I think we're running this. Let me open my browser.
Wow, it's so easy. Like you made it look so easy.
It's a really nice dev experience. So now we have these, and we haven't hooked up the route yet.
Yeah.
So let's do that. We can go blog and then call this slug.astro. So that's a dynamic route.
Okay.
And we can basically match that as a parameter.
Okay.
So what we're going to do here is call get static paths. So we have export const get static paths. And this is similar to how Next.js does it. You're going to pass back like things that should match slug. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll get our posts, and I need to import get collection from Astro content.
Okay.
So this will get us all our blog posts. And then we can return our posts with our slug. So this will match to the URL.
Okay.
And then we'll pass in the post itself. And then what's really cool is down here, when we're rendering an individual one, we can pull our post out.
Okay.
And we can just call post.render, and this will give us a component. So we can get our h1
And then put content
with our post.data title. Oh, you know what I didn't do is give us our types. So
okay.
this will, it's a little bit of boilerplate, but now Astro props is actually going to be typed, and we can see our post.data title. And then we can render out our content.
Gotcha.
And if I refresh, now we have our
Wow.
post. So we have all these hooked up with type safety, and it's just a super seamless experience. And then what's awesome is if I like forget my description here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a super helpful error. These are new in Astro 2.0, that we have an invalid content. So it'll actually give us, the file we're looking at. We're missing description here. So description is required, and we can actually check the reference in the docs. We have these new pages. So these will give you more information, more reading if you have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
And then as soon as we put our description back, that error should go away.
Wow. And wow. So you already have, just double checking, like, do you have a repo or template of something like this for people to try out?
Totally. So the easiest way is to go to astro.new. And these are like all of our official templates. I think most of these in the first one, so like our blog starter,
Mm.
and a couple other ones. Our portfolio is a really nice new one. These are all using content collections. So this is definitely a good way to go. They're also in our GitHub repository. So that's GitHub /with Astro /Astro. And we have all our examples here.
Awesome. This is so perfect. Let me close my Visual Studio Code because I just heard my little AI peer programmer respond to me when you said GitHub. That is so cool. Like this is perfect. I just put the link to Astro 2.0 there so that people can try it out. And then I saw that like you can open it in Gitpod, Stack Blitz, and Code Sandbox. Hopefully soon, Code
We should
Spaces.
add code spaces. Yeah, we
Yeah,
totally should.
because we have a couple. You can work with the Code Spaces team because we have a couple of templates already. So that would be
Nice.
awesome. Yeah,
That would
but
be
this
super
is
cool.
really cool.
Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. So let me see if do you think it's a good time for us to go through any questions from the audience, or
Yeah,
do
that
you
would be
want to ask
awesome.
more? Yeah, this made making a blog look so simple and easy. Like sometimes I get lazy because I'm like, oh, I know I'm gonna like try to add all of this and it's gonna feel overwhelming. So I just use dev.to and Hashnode. But I'm like,
Mhm.
I want to own my content even more and the website and all
Totally.
that. Like,
Yeah, some of the stuff we're working on is like social feed sort of template, if that's the kind of site you want. That like, I know a lot of us are on Mastodon now.
yeah.
Our team's really excited about that. So like the indie web, activity pub stuff is all things that we're looking at. So like, I love this movement. I'm really glad people are like back to owning their content, owning their little corner of the web. It's a
Yeah.
really great fit for Astro too.
Yes, it is. Okay, so let's see some of the thoughts or questions. Okay, I don't know a lot about Zod, so like forgive me if I don't really understand fully, but someone said Zod is nice, but is the type interface similar to a satisfies operator?
So Zod gives you actual runtime safety, and you can get the TypeScript type out of it, which is really nice. So you're basically getting both. You're getting the TypeScript type at compile time. You're also getting the runtime validation, which is super important in this case because we are surfacing it in the editor. So like as you're writing it, we're actually validating the data. That's really hard to do statically with something like Satisfies.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And looks like they're curious, and this is a question I was gonna ask you anyways, but how can they contribute? How can people contribute if they're like, yo, this is so cool. I wanna
Absolutely. So I will go to our GitHub. We have a contributing guide that goes into all the details. Um, and this is like the actual Astro code base if you want to get involved in that. But we also have uh, the docs site. So this is definitely where I would suggest people start.
Mhm.
If you just want to help improve the documentation, our docs team is so welcoming and super active. And they have like amazing contributing guides and like a manual for maintainers or people in the support squad in our Discord. So that's another place to go connect with us is astro.build/chat. We have a super active Discord and it's a ton of fun. And I've met so many awesome people. So yeah, get involved, jump in our Discord, check out our repos. We would love to have you.
Awesome. I put some of the links on the thing, and I can attest to what you said. The docs team is super nice. I'm gonna hold on to my little claim to fame, as that's like the biggest contribution I've ever made is to the doc site. Usually, I make it to like smaller, lesser known projects, and I was like, yes, I made a contribution to actual framework. Um, Anthony said, are there any full stack Astro examples connected to a database? Like full stack, Jamstack, maybe?
Totally. Yeah, that's a great question. Something we're very excited about, and we don't have any official examples now, but we're working on case studies, more example templates. I think especially with the hybrid rendering feature, that's has just unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. So people that were maybe holding back because Astro was static and they need something more full stack. Now is a really great time to explore that, and we're going to keep working on the docs and examples for that. But that's use cases we're super excited about.
Awesome, awesome. Most of these are like comments about how cool it is. There's one question that I'm not sure if I fully understand. So, Jeremy, if you wanna or like expand, unless like you understand it, Nate, what is the
Yeah.
connection to Netlify?
So our doc site mentions that we're sponsored by Netlify. So we have
Oh,
quite a few sponsors, but Netlify is our official hosting partner. We have partnered with Vercel as well. So yeah, we have connections, and that just really allows us to uh, get in contact with their team, have better support, and make sure that everything is running smoothly on their platform. So that's the connection there. It's not that they're running the project. Astro's open source. I should mention there is the Astro Technology Company that we started to support this project.
oh,
So this is, yeah, that's our company. Um, but we're super dedicated to Astro being an open source thing. That's
okay.
always going to be the case. But we're looking at opportunities to enhance the experience. WordPress is something we take a ton of inspiration from.
Yeah.
Uh, that they've been a successful open source project, and also a company behind it. So we're super excited about continuing to support Astro and continuing to get community involvement. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really good for people to know like how like if they wanted to be maintainers, like how are our maintainers actually funding these projects? Because like behind the scenes, like you still need some type of money coming in to for it to be sustainable.
Totally. And that's something we're super interested in experimenting.
Yeah.
What's awesome is our sponsorships from uh, our open collective that companies like Netlify are giving to us are things that we have set aside for the community entirely. So if you're a community contributor, every once in a while we have nominations, and we give out that money. So people that get involved in this project, there's definitely an opportunity here. It's a great learning experience, but there's also, if you're doing a great job and you're super active, we like to give back as much as we can.
Awesome. Okay. Two questions just came in. Someone said, does Astro have a WebStorm IDE plugin?
Great question. It does not. We have a language server, which WebStorm doesn't support, unfortunately, at the moment. But the WebStorm team has mentioned that they're working on Astro support this quarter, I believe.
Oh,
So that's really exciting. I know we get this question a ton. I'm super pumped for their team to add support.
awesome. Coming soon. And then Kevin said, where can I buy Astro merch? Is that a thing? Do we have
Oh,
Astro merch out there?
it will be a thing. We're working on it. It's coming soon. Yeah, we're gonna have stickers and shirts and all the swag. So stay tuned. Hopefully, very soon.
Yay, that's exciting. Okay, I'll just highlight some like positive comments and then I'll switch into some of the last questions I had for you. Um, Anthony said, by the way, my blog is using Astro and I upgraded this weekend. I went through literally 7 different frameworks before landing on Astro and no regrets. Um, Someone said Astro is, and they have like the little sunglasses eyes. Let me see if there's anything else. Brandon put the fire sign. Um, and Anthony said, "You might have a new sponsor soon." So,
Ooh, keep an eye out.
and I'll say hi to Ian. I just seen that he joined us in the chat. Hey, Ian. Okay, so thank you for showing us all this cool new stuff. I'm still like hyped about the Houston AI thing.
Yes. So we're gonna tweet about that soon. It's houston.astro.build, but go play around with it. We've tried to break it. Hopefully, it's not going to break too badly. But yeah, we're excited about the experiment. So
Ooh, I'm excited too. I'm definitely as soon as this stream is over, I'm gonna try it out. Um,
nice.
I think so. We talked about who you can contribute. I guess I'm curious, just from your side, like what have been the challenges you've encountered in maintaining a project, and then what has been like the most rewarding part for you?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think maintaining a project at the scale is really hard, and open source is really hard. I do open source because I love it, and it's super fun. It was something I was involved in prior to Astro, and I still am. I have a bunch of smaller projects that I still maintain, but the I don't know, triaging issues, responding to people, making a roadmap, all that stuff is really challenging. So I'm super grateful to work with an amazing team, and we all support each other in that. But yeah, it can definitely be a challenge just to stay on top of it at this volume.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly rewarding. I would say my favorite thing is the community, because we've just made so many great connections through this project. Such creative and talented people that we've got to know that I never would have met without this.
Awesome. That's a great answer. It sounds like there's a lot to manage, but the community makes it worth it for you.
Absolutely.
All right, I will move into the non-technical questions that I ask people to wrap things up. Hope you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I guess this is kind of technical, but what was the first programming language that you learned?
Whew. So I have a design background, and I really resisted learning programming for quite a while. Even one of my professors was like, "You should really learn how to code," and I did not want to. But I started working with. I think I was trying to like automate Google Sheets a bit more. So Google had this weird JavaScript-ish programming language that you could use to make Google Sheets extensions. So I started poking with that. So formally, I guess whatever that weird flavor of JavaScript was. But I definitely also, was like hacking on HTML and CSS stuff, and when I was younger. So yeah, I've really been web-based my whole career.
Awesome. I love it. And I think I've used that too before. I was going to say it's called
Uh-huh.
Google Script, but someone in the comments just corrected or just
App
said it's
script.
called App
Yes, that's
Script.
right.
All right. The other question is, if money wasn't an issue, how would you ideally spend your time? Like whether it's a job or like not a job, like what would you be doing with your days?
Totally. I, like I said, have a design background, so I think I would be doing a lot more art. And I really love working with computers, so I'm sure I would still do that. But yeah, more creative stuff, working with my hands, and that would be really awesome.
I love that. I love that. I feel like I'm the only person in my family that can't draw, so I can try to I understand you vicariously through them.
I'm not good at drawing, and that's why I chose graphic design. So you don't need to be. It's okay.
Um, what is a dream open source project that you would like to create one day? Like I know like Astro is like the cool thing, but like what's like something that's been in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, I wish I could have created that, but I don't have the time.
Totally. I think, yeah, it's really hard to beat Astro. I
Yeah.
really think it was a dream project, and I'm super grateful I can work on it. But in terms of other things, I've been working on like this Markdown parser in my free time. I'm very into parsers and compilers. I wrote the Astro compiler, and I've just kind of been tinkering with other stuff. So that's one I'm really excited about. I also maintain like a little like tiny HTML parser. And the goal, I just always want to make stuff smaller and faster. So I am trying to make like the smallest, fastest Markdown parser.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Wait, this is off script, but did you did you self-teach yourself? So like did you self-teach code? What I'm trying to say. Are you self-taught
Yes,
as
I'm
a coder?
self-taught.
Okay. Wow, I'm impressed that like all that you've doing.
Thanks.
And I see one question here. Someone's curious if Astro will be participating in Google's Summer of Docs. I think that is.
I don't know. I don't think it's come up, but that's a really great suggestion, and we should definitely chat about that.
Okay, cool. Putting it out there into the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Last 3 questions. You can only eat one food again for the rest of your life. What is it?
Auntie Anne's pretzels.
Okay. You've thought about this. That's
I
good.
have. Yeah, that's not a hard one for me.
I love it. All right, and then for the word GIF, because I don't want to give away how I say it. Hard G or soft G?
I believe GIF is the correct pronunciation. The creator may disagree, but that's okay. It's one man's opinion. And
One
most
year just
people
'cause
say
people
GIF.
hate it.
So yeah, well, once you put it out in the world, it's not yours anymore. So
That's true. Okay, last question. What is your favorite Beyonce song?
okay, this was the one I was stressed about the most because there's so many to choose from. I'm gonna have to say Love on Top. And
Okay, great
I
choice.
also have a fun story, which is that I'm not going to say her name, but my little AI assistant at home has a command where if you say bring the beat in, she will play Love on Top.
What? Is
Yes.
that built into Alexa? Or
Yeah, you can make
really?
custom commands.
Oh,
So I say bring the beat in and she says anything for you, Beyonce, and then she plays Love on Top.
what?
Yep.
Thank you for telling me that. I had no clue. All right. This was a great stream. Someone said Astro is the best kept secret ever. Okay. um, and is there any like last things that you want to promote? I know we talked about like going to astro.new to check out those templates. We talked about the actual repository for Astro.
Yep.
The docs repository if people wanted to start by contributing there, and then checking out that AI, the Houston
Yeah.
AI pair programmer thing.
I would definitely check out astro.build/chat. That's our
Ooh,
Discord server, super active. It's a great place to hang out. So if you're interested, come say hi.
nice. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Nate. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
This is a blast.
Yeah, I had fun. I had fun, and I really appreciate how the comment section was also pretty engaged. Thanks for showing all this, and have a great day, y'all.
Thanks.
Bye.